I hope my network
Yeah, we're live.
holds up. Okay, so
Yeah.
we're live.
So,
Okay,
yeah.
so
Share the link with the group, I guess.
yep. Even though this is us out in the group. So let me
Nobody
see if I
knows
can get
what's
it
in the group
on.
now. It can be a group of don't worry, the five
So we're
or
live.
six people who will listen to this broadcast will probably not know who the group is, who the group are. Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
do you want to do the introduction?
Oh, you can.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. This is this is a stream, and we have come out of self isolation to talk about all
Self-isolation.
things COVID-19. My name is Tosin, and this is my friend Ikenna. And yeah, so Ikenna, you're the one that's on Twitter, and you are the Twitter expert. This thing. So, how are you? First things first. How are you, and how are you enjoying your isolation? How are you working from
Well,
home?
it has been. Well, I've been working from home, and since my office is also deserted because since campus closed on Monday, so campus is like now. I go to school and I am isolated also, so I can self-isolate in my office and at home. So it depends. It depends on wherever I want to self-isolate. I can self-isolate, but 1 week in, and the experience has been interesting, especially following it online, especially looking at the numbers. It has really, really been interesting. How about you?
Well, I've been working at home since Monday. The office gave us dispensation to work from home, and initially it was a bit interesting because well, the missus was still going to work and all, and there were a lot of things for me to do. So I had my meetings normally. I tried to work, keep my productivity up, and all that. But with the closure of state borders, it's uh, it's very difficult. My stream of work has seemed to come to a trickle now. So it's come to a trickle, and I suspect by
Okay.
next week it will come to a halt, and I'd have to find something else to do, some other thing to occupy me. So
What?
yeah.
Oh,
So,
okay.
anyways,
Well, on my side, I also have. I have.
my I am supposed to be I'm doing a master's degree course, and it's online, but the regular school has also shut down. So yeah, it's that bad.
Oh, okay.
So I
Oh,
also have
so the
exams
regular
in.
school and the online school.
Well,
So regular
my
school,
exams are.
online school shut down.
Yeah, well, the online it's distance learning. So the school, the I basically just study the material and do the assignments and all, and then write my exams. My exams were scheduled for May, but that's not going to happen now. It's shifted to August. So yeah, even that I can't do.
Wow,
So yeah,
wow.
it's
That's tentative also.
yeah, and that's tentative to be honest.
Mm. So that's quite tentative. Quite tentative. Anyway, um, okay, we're still connected. So COVID-19.
Yeah, COVID-19.
When did you first hear about it?
COVID. Honestly, I heard about it last
Yes,
year. I honestly heard of COVID last year. So
mid
it
December,
was
late December.
late December, I would assume. It was I was not at home. I was at work. I was I was in a remote
Mm,
location and I saw it some obscure place on the internet or some obscure part of CNN. And they just it was a brief mention like, oh, there's a flu in Wuhan, China, and they
mm,
suspected it started from the wet market in Wuhan, China, and it spread amongst like 5 people or thereabouts, or 10 people, or some very
mm.
small figure. And
On
then it was
Fogo,
sometime in
yeah.
January. There was sometime in then they were suspecting that they then said that the hospitals were overwhelmed in China,
That was by
and they were going to
January.
build a yeah by January, and we're going to build
The
a
the
ten
ten the hospital in
story
10 days.
the hospital in 10 days. Then after about 3 days afterwards, they said the hospital was breaking down, and then the U.S. Stopped flights from China. Then the Russians actually stopped all people coming in and coming out, as far as I can remember, and then it died. Then it
This was
thought
by
the
late
Chinese were going to
January.
manage it. Yeah, yeah. And then we had I was in Lagos when I think was it in Lagos around Valentine's when they said it was in one ship. I think
Yeah.
the cruise liner, and then they had problems whether to
The
get
cruise
them
line, the
in.
Diamond Princess.
Diamond Princess, and they were like, it's the largest zone apart from China. You understand? And
Yeah.
they park them
The largest cluster.
in and then I don't vet vest. Then they moved it on to South Korea, around the month. Yeah, it was like late February or early March, I would assume, that we heard about Italy's first cases, and then it just
Mhm.
they tried to block off northern Italy, and I suspect I know why it's in northern.
Yeah.
It came in on northern Italy first, then northern Italy, then from northern Italy, France, from France, a few cases in Germany,
Spain.
and now we are here. Why we are here? Where we are? That's why we are where we are now.
Yeah, where we are. That's why. That's why.
That's
Yeah,
why
'cause
we
I
are
also
where
I
we
think I
are.
heard of it. Mm. I think I also heard it around Christmas, New Year. I think around the Christmas holidays when I first heard the stories, and then yeah, I also remember China and their attempts to show their efficiency during the pandemic by building
Yes,
hospitals
yes,
in I don't know how many days. I remember that,
yeah.
and
And
yeah, as you said,
my
it's
question was, yeah, I'm still listening.
and then it was actually quite. It was. I still remember when basically everybody was saying that there wasn't anything to worry about, that this is just like the flu, and it wasn't going to do anything. It wasn't going to cause any trouble. I remember when they were saying this, especially in Spain and in France. I remember when they were like, people should go out for the Smurfs convention, the Smurfs convention. Even at the point, this was like early February when it was really
What's the
getting
Smarts
bad in Italy.
convention? What convention?
Smurfs,
What
Smurfs.
convention?
There's some gathering of people in France where they all dress like the Smurfs. Remember the Smurfs?
Yes,
Uh-huh. So
Smurfs
there's some
convention.
gathering. Yeah. So it was supposed to
Yeah,
be in February. There were a lot of things in February. After where people started worrying about this thing spreading globally was during the Chinese New Year, which was last week of
oh yeah,
January.
yeah. So for that
Yeah.
was I've
Because it
seen
was
one
after the
March
Chinese New
11,
Year.
2020. Yeah,
That's the one in France.
Yeah. March 11, 2020. France sets world record at small festival despite
Okay.
coronavirus.
So that was how late it was, and that still held. That
Yeah.
still held. So it's crazy. It's really really crazy. It's really really crazy. And like we're talking about the other day, um, there will have to be a reckoning.
Yeah. I mean, what do you mean by reckoning?
There will have to be a reckoning. Like once this is done, China needs to answer a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Once
Indeed,
this
they
is
have
done,
to
once
answer.
this is over, they need to answer a
I do
lot
find
of
it very,
questions.
very. I find it very, very
A lot of
interesting that they have a supposed to have a world class virology facility in the place where the
in
virus
Wuhan.
reportedly. Yes. So eventually, when all these things has once this is resolved, I'm sure somebody's going to ask them that question. Okay,
There was this
what are
thread
the chances?
yesterday. There was this thread yesterday, even though I commented on the thread saying I would rather I would rather attribute to incompetence certain things instead of conspiracy. But there was this
Yeah.
thread. I'm not sure I'll be able to find it to share it because my Twitter isn't good. But let me see if I can find it. I find it on my phone and then read about. It's basically the fellow basically details certain things that look fishy, that look very very fishy about the situation. He's saying the coronavirus traveled the entire world from Wuhan, but it did not reach Beijing and Shanghai. So, and then he's talking about how
Is
the
that
Chinese stock
true?
market didn't crash and the American and European markets are crashing. That's the thing. That is not entirely true because I think there were cases in Beijing for certainly. I'm not sure about Shanghai, but I think there were cases in Beijing. Wait, let me even see this John Hopkins back. I think they had something. I don't know where they separated China as they did the US, but let's see. The internet is quite slow. But he's saying that look that it seems like, and obviously basically at this point the way economies are going, there is going to be the likely chance that companies will fail and companies will be bought over.
Yeah. Unless governments,
Companies will be bought assets. Yeah.
yes, that will
So
happen.
assets are going to be
No
bought
matter
over.
what.
Assets are going to be.
Yeah, that is true.
So 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 now that China is apparently ahead in recovery, that cough. Are we going to flag that cough?
No, the cough. Hello.
We're going to flag it as a COVID?
No, no, that was tea. That was tea going in the wrong way. But don't worry, Mrs. Ishola is counting also.
Okay, so
I think. I think.
I think so. Let's see now. At least there's a map. The map that I'm sharing on the screen, even though the thing is quite slow. So
Yeah.
I don't know what people will be seeing, but the map I have, there's a breakdown. I think for China, there's a breakdown for the total deaths in China. Um, okay, this is deaths. This is deaths and not
Yes.
even
That's.
cases. But
Yeah. Yeah.
mm,
Apart from
but you
Hubei,
have
where Wuhan is,
Hubei, which is
the
Wuhan, is
the deaths are in very small figures.
false figures. Yeah, I mean very very small. By the time you start looking at the other places, so is right.
Four in four in Hong
Um,
Kong.
this was actually Yeah, four in Hong Kong.
That's very strange.
Four in Hong Kong. Yeah, it's very, very small in different provinces. Yeah, which is quite strange. Which is actually quite strange. And the way the Chinese curve flattened also is also quite strange. It's also quite strange. China got to 80,000 and have remained there for almost 2 weeks now. For almost
I
two
want
weeks,
to
which is
assume that they've
quite strange.
stopped
Almost,
counting. I'm
that's what I
assuming that they've
think.
stopped counting, or they stopped testing, or they've stopped keeping
Or that
scores.
they've stopped, or they stopped keeping the numbers, or they've stopped sharing the numbers with whoever,
Okay.
WHO or whoever is collecting the data. I guess so. So I think that's that. So
Anyway,
there has to be a reckoning. Questions really need to be asked.
so what do
Really
you
need to
think
be asked.
about the Nigerian response?
Well, there's a number of things are annoying me with the Nigerian case. A number of things. The first thing is obviously this outbreak, or this the coronavirus, the COVID-19 outbreak in Nigeria, is something that came through the sky, in the sense that it was flown in. It was flown in. So it started from people who tend to travel a lot or who have traveled within this period. And it seems like our first cases, apart from the Italian, and I think with the Italian, I think it was under control a bit. It was a bit under control because he was isolated and he didn't really spread it that far. The Italian, the case one. But I think there was some point where it seemed like there was a point where it spread into the UK. After it spread into the UK, and because I'm sure I think it really should be really must be worse than we think it is in the UK, because for the prime minister and for the heir apparent in the UK to have the virus, then it means that
Everybody has it.
it's actually worse than we think. So you now have a period, and I think that period is between late February, first 2 weeks of March, where you
Yes.
had a lot of people coming into the country from the UK, a lot of Nigerians coming into the country from the UK, and I'm specific about the UK because that's where most Nigerians travel to, and that is what has led to this, we can say, in quote, explosion of cases. So that's one. One is because the people who were coming in at a time when people had already started talking about social distancing. People already started talking about self isolation. People already knew that there was a crisis. There was the outbreak was full blown in the UK. So
Can you
the
hear the
first thing is
background noise?
the background noise on your side. I can't hear from
Yes.
my side. I don't know how my audio sounds.
Okay, that's good. Carry on.
Okay, I can't hear anything from your side. There's nothing from your
Okay,
side.
carry on.
So I'll say first of all that the irresponsibility was is a case of irresponsibility of a lot of people coming back, knowing that probably they might have been exposed and not self-isolating, going for events, basically living as if nothing was happening and not getting tested. So I think that's one problem. And then a second problem is, well, NCDC, I don't blame them because like almost every other agency really have to do with having anywhere where you can eat in Nigeria. NCDC is probably is basically for them. And you have them until I would say have made it, will make it has made it difficult to even to just know what the situation is here. The person is out. We get him out. Okay, so this is done time. While we wait for the situation to return to the stream. Oh, hello. I think it was back.
Hello.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry
I think
I
you're back.
dropped off. Yes.
Hmm.
And
So I
these
was
are the real
basically
issues from working. Okay, you're saying?
so maybe you did not hear all I said. Did you get all I said before you went off?
Yeah, no, no, no. You were talking about the Nigerian response and how uh, you think it was imported from the UK and all that,
Yeah.
and the NCDC, you couldn't blame them, and then I dropped off.
Oh, okay. So basically, at the second point I was talking about was how NCDC are ill-equipped, ill-equipped or under-equipped to be able to handle the situation. So that is also something to note.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, what do you think? What do you think? Okay, federal response, state by state response. Is there
Well,
any? People are
well,
saying Lagos has done well.
the Lagos State governor. I don't live in Lagos, but I have family that live in Lagos. And the Lagos State
Okay.
governor seems to be eager to do well on this, or he seems to be eager to be seen to do well at this. I think he understands the gravity of the situation, so I think he's doing the best he can to have a good showing in this situation. I think he realizes that there's a significant political up. How do I put it? There's a political upside to
To
this.
it
So
doing well.
if he does well in this, his sins will be forgiven, or his perceived sins will be forgiven. That said, Lagos does have a good incident management system, and he has taken up the role as incident commander. Now I don't know if he's competent enough to do it, but I do know that he has a political clout to do it. So,
Okay.
and that's good. That's good. So they're running an incident command system, which is what the Americans are also doing. And he's incident commander, meaning that there are all the resources of government is can be mobilized. Can you hear me?
Sorry, can you explain what that means? Yeah, I can hear you. Can you
Oh,
explain what
oh, okay. So
incident command means, how that works?
okay, so the incident command system it's a management system. It's a system of management that was developed by the Americans to manage emergencies
Okay.
or things like this. You can use it to manage any project that requires multivariate resources from all sorts of from complex resources from diverse apparatus. Okay, so what the incident command system does is that it puts all the resources and material under the command of a special office developed for this emergency. So the COVID-19 emergency would have its own office. In this case, it might not even have an office, but it would have its own facility or where all this is managed. So you'd have people from the private sector, people from the Lagos State Hospitals board, if that's what it's called, fire service, ambulances, the army, Red Cross, fire service, and all those that you think would be needed for this kind of response. So in that way, the response is not uncoordinated. You understand? You understand? So everyone knows his role. A
Okay.
plan is formed. Everyone knows his role.
Okay. Like
The
centralized.
command, everyone has his, yes, everyone has his own line of command. Nobody has two bosses. Uh, there are common names what things are called. So it's called the staging area. It's called this thing, and it's actually very interesting that Lagos State is doing this, and it's good. I actually, if I say this, I'll probably out myself further. But I actually presented a paper on the incident command system at a conference earlier late last year. In
Last year.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
That said to say, well, it wasn't well received.
Okay. Why?
Well, so it was you know I just think it wasn't the right time for that kind of thing to be have been said. You understand?
The audience was made up of who? Engineers?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was made up of engineers. So, and at that time, talking about an emergency response system, a system that could be used for emergencies and disasters and things like that, did not seem to ring well with the audience. Understand? Now we've had how many disasters in the space of many fast moving disasters and one slow moving disaster? Maybe, maybe it would have been better. It will be better received. Who knows? I don't know. Anyways, but it's good that the Lagos State government is doing this, and they are seen to be doing something, and you can see the fact that they have more than one a diversity of stakeholders in their thinking, because you can see that they are covering all sorts of bases, including providing meals, which is something that other state governments haven't figured
To
out how to
not
do it
to
yet. So,
do. Yeah.
yes.
Because
So you would,
that's the key. That's the key worry concern with lockdowns.
yeah.
Because a
How
lot
do
of
you feed
states,
people?
how do you feed people? How do people feed? Because a lot of states now are considering lockdowns. Enugu State is going to lock down 6 p.m. 31st. So the next few days is going to be a rush. Everybody rushing to do
Yeah,
whatever they can do.
and that probably would not help matters. Now, if Enugu doesn't have community transmission,
Mm-hmm.
probably that would not be a problem. But in a place where there's community transmission, you don't really want people rushing into the stores.
Stores, yes.
Yeah.
Because that
Do I?
rush, that in that period of that rush, there's going to be a lot of transmission.
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, I think once we come out the other side, people would would have a different attitude to stockpiling food at home. You understand? Anyways,
The problem
so
also with the problem also with even stockpiling food here is storage. Where
yeah,
do you
canned
store? How do
food,
you store? How long?
canned food, baby,
You know,
canned food,
how
canned
many
food,
places?
and dried food.
How many places will you get canned food? For example, in Enugu,
I
quite
mean,
few,
you don't have big beans in Enugu.
quite rare.
You don't have big beans in Enugu.
Oh, you do, but it's rare.
Big beans is rare in
You,
Enugu.
it's
You
quite rare.
stockpile okpa now. It keeps also now.
No. Yeah, yeah. It's basically no, what most people will keep are maybe the grains like your rice and your beans.
Yeah, and
And
that's another thing for people who have disposable income. It's something they can do. But
yeah,
for people who
and most
live
people
on a
don't.
day to day basis, who are daily earners, this is a very terrible time for them. Let's see how the next few weeks go. I'm really hoping that this is a seasonal disease and it doesn't spread quite as fast in the tropical regions. Even though the evidence seems to be to the contrary, seems to be spreading quite fast in warm regions.
Mm.
So who knows? It's going to be, but Lagos seems to be doing well. The federal government, on the other hand, that's a separate matter. To be
It's a
honest,
separate case. Yeah, it's a separate case. The federal government is it's a basically, as you said, there's really at the federal level, there's basically no coordinated leadership. There's no leadership.
yeah. There seems to be so they have the there seems to be something.
Since out again. Okay. Back.
Yeah,
Welcome back again.
yeah. Sorry. And to the federal government, you guys are doing well. You're doing well. Hello, hello. Can you hear me?
So welcome back, Tosin. Can you hear
Yeah.
me?
Yes, I can hear you. I don't think you can hear me.
Sneak peek, sneak peek, sneak peek, sneak peek. Let me put my camera on
Hello.
and off again.
Can you hear me?
And Tosin is out again. So another camera on. Yeah, it's always difficult because since I'm using this, I have to be a bit close to the screen and my face is in the screen. Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can see
Tosin
you. I
is
can
back.
hear you. Yeah, I can see you. I can hear you.
I can hear you. Okay. I think your
Hello.
sound is back now. I think your sound is back now.
Oh, okay. So, barring any
Yeah, I
interventions
think your
by the
sound is
federal
back now.
government,
So,
I will continue. I will continue. Can you hear me?
okay, so you can. So you were talking
Okay.
about
So,
the federal government.
yeah, the this issue, the COVID-19 issue, has shown that there are issues at the very top of the federal government that the government isn't willing to share with Nigerians. It does it does it does the question that's on the lips of most Nigerians is where is their president? Now, it's I for a government that is really concerned about their perception in the world, it does seem very odd and unlike them to allow people to ask about the whereabouts of the president
Any response
without any response, especially on social media.
for this
It's been
long? For this
for
long?
this long,
For
yes,
this long?
yes. So it is a serious issue. I mean, at some point, they've been willing to take the risk of not showing the president and allowing rumors to spread, which is again unlike them. And
Mm-hmm.
and then there have been some really serious rumors. I mean, really serious rumors.
Yes,
So that's
yeah.
it. And I do think that there hasn't. Apparently the head of the civil, what chief of secretary, who exactly was who's? Let me check. Who's Mustafa boss?
Boss Mustafa.
Mustafa. Yeah, who's he?
I think Boss Mustafa is supposed to be the secretary to the federal government. I think it's supposed to be the SGA.
Yeah, so the secretary to the federal government has been put in charge of this issue. Seems like a very strange person to put in charge of this issue. Yeah. Boss Mustafa is a Nigerian lawyer, businessman, management consultant, politician, and current secretary to the government of the federation. Yeah. So he's an administrator and he's in charge of the coronavirus response for the federal government,
Now,
which it seems like a very strange choice.
it's actually really strange because I can if you want to play with the fact that you cannot bring the president in front of Nigerians to address them. One would expect
Or the
that you're
health
supposed to
minister.
bring not even the health minister, the vice president.
Well, that's so.
And then the vice president also is the kind of person that you would want to put in front like this because he's obviously more articulate than the president.
President, yes.
He's more articulate
Um,
than he's more articulate. And okay, so
yeah, but considering the political implications and what we know or what we can assume we know, you would understand why they wouldn't want to put the vice president on in the spotlight right now. If political permutations
yeah, it's
are to
understandable.
be,
But
it's
I'm guessing,
understandable.
yeah, but it's understandable. But that now even makes it even more unfortunate because it means that it means certain things. It means that the vice president is in a worse situation that we actually even think that he is,
Yes,
in the sense that he is so irrelevant that even in a crisis situation, he cannot even be put for the sake of appearances.
yes. I mean, so that's how
So
his
he's
situation is.
basically totally out of the loop.
Yes, I think we can all agree that for some reason he is out of the loop, and he has made sure he has really gone out of his way to show us that he is out of the loop. I mean, he's in
Out of the
self
loop. Yeah,
isolation as far as we're concerned,
because
as far as we know.
he's exactly he's not saying anything. Nothing.
Yeah, nothing. I
Earlier,
believe he
if this was
hasn't.
in the first time Osibanjo would have been the one in front of the cameras by
Yes,
now. He would have been in
yes,
charge of the response and he would have been the one.
yes.
Because I
Well,
remember
well,
there was the time when Buhari couldn't go anywhere and then it was him who was going everywhere.
yes.
The
I
one
do
going
think
everywhere.
I think the political class they have 2023 in mind,
Yeah.
and they are willing to take the risks that they are taking. They shouldn't be taking these risks. They shouldn't be like this. But it's very good that the Nigerian public can see
Yeah.
or can infer what's going on. That said, where's your president?
It's a it's sad that this has to be a question that we're asking at this time. Because this is not the time when we're supposed to be asking this question. This is not the time because I mean you have presidents of other countries that you will not even I mean I saw there was a tweet of somebody from Uganda saying that at least our president we're complaining but at least our president has addressed us 5 times in 2 weeks while the Nigerians are looking for their president.
Is there an election coming soon in Uganda? Let me find out. When is Uganda's next election? When is
So
well, there's going to be an election next year, so but it's still far, so it's not for election sakes.
mhm,
How many COVID-19 cases are in Uganda?
I think they're in their I think they have a number, quite a number. I haven't really checked. Remember the heady days when they
Oh,
were how
hello.
many? How many?
So Uganda expels 320, 342 Rwandans for spreading COVID-19.
Uh, globalization takes another blow.
Oh well, it's been a good run. You have
Mm,
tried. Anyway,
yeah.
so the truth about it is, there is something. There's something I don't know. That there is. I wouldn't say the truth about it, but anyways. So what did the Ugandans say?
Well, basically that their president has addressed them 5 times in 2 weeks,
Oh,
And even though his response leaves much to be desired, but at least they are better than Nigerians who can't even find their president.
oh wow.
So that was
Oh well.
around the time when the Imam of Peace decided to join in to drag Nigerians, or to drag the Nigerian president.
Please explain to me what Tawidi is up to.
I don't know. Now, apparently, some verified BMC handle brought out screenshots of his DM conversations. So I don't know when. I think I can't remember the date. I can't remember the timestamp. But a DM conversation with this Tawidi, where Tawidi was asking him to help organize a meeting with the president, that he wants to help to negotiate with, to help to resolve the Zagzaki crisis,
Okay.
because he was saying that he knows that Zagzaki is basically an Iranian front, and we should not trust the Iranians, and the Iranians want to basically destabilize. That he knows the Iranians and that he wants to help. That what was the how was the conversation? So that was basically, so he was asking this fellow to help to facilitate meeting with the president. So the guy was sharing this DM, leaking this DM to make it look like Tawidi is a fraud. But for most people, people were like, "Oh, but this doesn't show anything. It just shows that okay, people was trying to help." So, personally, because I watched Tawidi, I watched it, I watched it, and
Roboting.
can you hear me?
Hello? Yes, it's
Is
better
all
now.
right? Okay. So I got a certain
Yes.
vibe. I got a certain vibe listening to him. Interesting ideas, but I got a certain vibe, like there was something. So yeah, I don't really, I don't fully want to see or listen to him that to be able to know that okay, what is the agenda, where he's aligned. But well, I guess he's not he's playing for something, which is basically
You're
what
roboting again.
which is what everybody does. Everybody plays for something, but he is playing for something. So I'm not sure what it is he's playing for. Is
So
it clear
what
now?
did Tawidi do? Yeah, yeah.
Tawidi.
What
So,
exactly did he do?
so he basically just came out, and I can't remember. I think his first tweet or was basically he came out, and I think he saw the video, a funny video somebody made of Buhari saying COVID-19,
Oh,
and then he now starts COVID-19, and then he now starts ripping into Buhari, saying that that the president of Nigeria, because he basically lists three people, three leaders who he says, I think Imran Khan of Pakistan, the guy of either Qatar or Kuwait, and then Buhari, and then he lists them as basically being dumb. He lists them as being dumb. So he lists those three together, and I think his target was the Pakistani president. That
okay.
was his target. He wanted to. So people saw it. The BMC guys saw it and started attacking him. So he now left the other two and decided to focus on Buhari. And then now where Jaja now jumped in, where Jaja now jumped in was he made a statement where he said it is only a stupid president is only elected by a stupid people.
Okay.
Mhm. So that was
I
what
can
Jaja
see
now.
I can see how that would cause offense.
Yeah. So Jaja now took that as saying, so you are saying that Nigerians in general are stupid. But I think he clarified. he clarified and said that yes, that the people who voted him in are stupid, and that the way he also put it is also kind of, he said that stupid is a description, not an insult.
Ah, so he's
So
been at it. So so Imam of Peace has been trending in Nigeria,
so he has been at
and
it since yesterday.
yeah, and he has a video out. He has a 16-minute video where he
Mhm.
basically tells Buhari to resign.
Yeah, he started pushing a hashtag. First of all, he started pushing the President Kovic, and then the where his Buhari hashtag, and then he started pushing again the Buhari should resign hashtag.
How many times have Nigerians run "Where is Buhari"?
I think there was a
Do you,
time when Buhari disappeared for 100 and something days. There was that time.
let me just let me go on Twitter and find out. Let me search Twitter for the earliest instance of "Where is Buhari" hashtag. Where is Buhari? And see, okay, the earliest we've had "Where is Buhari" 8 minutes old.
Mhm.
We've had "Where is Buhari." We've had "Where is Buhari" from. Oh, how do you search? Okay, let me see. Advanced search.
Would you find that in advanced search?
Yeah, I'm looking for dates. Yes, from January 1, 2015
Oh, okay.
to January 1, 2018. See how quickly. We've had "Where is Buhari" in 2017, believe
Okay.
it or not.
Okay. I think that was
We-
during that 100 and something days where he was in the UK.
we've had "Where is Buhari." Let's try 20. Let's try 2016. Where is Buhari? You have had, believe it or not, we've actually had "Where is Buhari" in 2015, just before he got elected.
Yes. Yeah. There was that time. There was that time where he disappears before the election, and then
People asked, "Where is
he wasn't
Buhari?"
happy where he was, and then he appears to give the Chatham House lecture.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
At,
appears to give the Chatham House lecture.
at that point, we should have realized what we were dealing with. I don't know if you can see my screen.
Euphoria. Um, can you share screen?
Yes, yes. Can you see my screen?
Okay. Oh, okay. It's down here. Okay, so let me add it.
Yeah. So, believe it or not, we have actually had "Where is Buhari" from March 2015. And we've asked "Where is Buhari" every year from 2015 to 2020.
Hmm.
I think
Yeah, I mean, we had been looking for him even before he.
before he was president, believe it or not. So I'm just going to go stop sharing my screen now.
So
That's an
it's not.
interesting fact.
We didn't start looking for him today.
Yeah. So, what do you think is going to happen?
We didn't start looking for him today.
So, what do you think is going to happen between,
Yeah, before
say,
he
the
was
next three
president, we
months?
were looking for him. And funny enough, one of the one of the arguments that were brought against him, one of the arguments that were brought one of the arguments that were brought against him even before he got elected was that even long before then, that you only see Buhari when it is time for the elections. Like he he had very little that he was doing in between campaigning for elections, at least from 2003. So between 1984 to 2003, okay, he was head of PTDF or
PTF.
PTF at some point. But he had very little output, very little output. So you can't point to lectures that he gave or books that he had written like his fellow generals were doing. So there was really nothing to point out that he was doing or he had done in
Outside his
this period
career in the army.
where he wasn't yeah, outside his career in the army. There was really nothing he had done. And a lot of people pointed out that this is supposed to be a red flag. But the
Well,
belief then was that he was just going to be the upright moral man of integrity that would allow technocrats to actually fix the country.
oh well. Well, the fact is that Buhari's leadership style, if you can call it a leadership style, involves a lot of delegation. So, in 1983, he delegated a bulk of his work to Idiagbon. In under PTF, he delegated it to
Fiagbon.
someone. Can't remember who, but there was someone actually. He was chairman of PTF, but there was actually someone running the day to day
Oh yeah,
of
breaking up.
PTF. Oh, can you hear me better? Is it better now? Hello?
It's better now. It's better now.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, over his career, he has done a lot of delegation where he basically delegates responsibility to someone else. And people assumed he would delegate a lot of the bulk of the work to the vice
To,
president,
yeah, the vice
which he
president.
seems to not have the appetite to do right now. Hello?
Yeah, yeah. That's basically what is happening.
Yeah.
So so basically we're living we basically have a king, I think, at this point.
We have a what?
Your background noise is actually louder now. We basically have a
Oh,
king.
yeah.
We don't have a president. We basically have a king. A king in the old style king.
A Jupiterian king?
Yeah, the old style king that is known but is not seen. He's known but is not seen. And if anything has happened to him, I mean, the typical thing is when you have a king like that, if anything happens to him, it is kept. It's the silence surrounding his health or whatever, because anything happening to him can signal chaos, can signal instability. But the problem is that in a democratic society, it's expected
I think
that
you've been
if
listening.
you do not know what is
I
happening to
think
the
you've been
leader,
listening.
that will cause chaos.
I think you've been listening to too much fall of civilization.
Maybe, maybe, but it's terrible. It's terrible. It's terrible. Yeah, I was contrasting it on Twitter. I was contrasting the fact that we haven't seen Buhari with the fact that the Americans are seeing their president every day, and then some people in certain parts of the media in the US want to displatform Trump. They want to displatform him, saying he is misinforming people. So they want to stop airing his daily briefings.
Well, wouldn't that be interesting? I mean, platforming a whole president. Well, the Americans have the freedom; they can do that.
Yeah, they can. They can. So because I was having an argument with some people on Twitter about it because people were like, but he's actually misinforming people. And like, but see, at this point, you think people would want to listen to some pundits on
Over their
MSNBC or CNN
their leader.
over their leader. So the way I ended most of the conversation was basically that look, that if they want to stop airing his broadcast, they should try it. They should try it because if CNN stops, if MSNBC stops, Fox will not stop.
Yeah,
and then everybody will just basically move to Fox.
Ratings will tank, and their ratings will tank.
Your ratings will tank. Their ratings will tank. Their ratings will tank. So they know that they can't try it.
People will want to listen to their president. You would hear a lot of background noise now. It's an interesting. It's an interesting. There are interesting times we live in.
Yeah, very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah. So they won't. I suspect that they won't have an appetite for they won't have an appetite to deplatform the president, the United States president. They will not do it. They'll talk about doing it, but they will never do it.
I think the underlying issue, because there's always an underlying issue, is basically that his approval ratings are going up.
Yeah.
And then him basically addressing everybody every day means that you cannot control the narrative.
And they cannot misrepresent him. They can't slice and dice and all that.
So everybody gets to hear him, to hear what he says. And that's not good, especially with the fact that the election is coming and Joe Biden.
I honestly think that so I've been watching a number of Joe Biden videos, and I honestly think that this quarantine or this shutdown has been good to him.
Yeah.
Reason being that he cannot campaign. So if it was normal period, he would be campaigning, doing 2 or 3 events a day. Mm-hmm. That man cannot carry it.
You can't.
That man.
And the narrative now, if you look closely, the narrative now is, because the epicenter of the thing in the US is New York.
Yes.
So what a lot of them are saying is, okay, we're not deplatforming Trump, but let's focus on Cuomo.
That's fine, man.
I heard someone describe Cuomo as one of his briefings, because Cuomo does daily briefings also. Mm-hmm. And somebody described it as Churchillian.
I never thought I would hear a Democrat refer to something as Churchillian in a positive manner, but who knows? I never thought I would hear a modern day leftist describe Churchillian in a positive manner. But
this is a period of surprises. Mm-hmm. So he was being described as Churchillian, and there are rumblings that, okay, this guy should be the next president. This guy should be, that kind of thing.
I don't think Joe Biden will let that go without a fight.
We shall see. The question is, how ready will Joe Biden be? Because he's really, it's really bad.
It's bad. It's bad now.
It's really bad. And you cannot Trump will eat him raw.
I said,
If
I
Trump if
genuinely
Trump
do not.
if
I
Trump,
won't.
if
I am
Trump
torn.
gets him, Trump will eat him raw.
I'm torn between. I'm torn between. I'm torn between. Uh, I'm torn between watching the debate and not
Mhm.
watching the debate. And the reason being that it will be gory. I mean,
It will be.
so I mean, it wouldn't even have to be. So it wouldn't even have to be direct.
Mhm.
So it wouldn't be direct. It would just be, oh God. I mean, oh oh God.
And because we're dealing with a man like Trump that doesn't hold back.
But yes.
He doesn't hold back.
So
Another Republican will probably hold back and probably will try to be nice to the elderly, but Trump will not hold back.
I don't. I especially because of the impeachment, the whole impeachment matter.
Impeachment thing, yeah.
Oh God. He
Uh,
must. He must. He must. I'm sure he's chomping at the bit to go at him.
yeah,
But do you think Trump will get his wish and the economy will be open by Easter? I don't think so.
I don't think so. At this point, I don't think it will be open by Easter, especially the way the US numbers are going.
But the
It's
Americans are,
it had always been wishful thinking.
yeah. But the Americans have been testing a lot,
Yes, they have.
and maybe with the Americans now we will know what the real fatality rate of this virus is.
American fatality rates, interestingly, have been lower than the average.
Yes, I think
Like
because
if you look at
they are
I know
testing more. Hello.
not the confirmed rates, but the fatality rates are low compared to Italy, Spain, France.
I suspect because Italy, Spain, and France are only testing the very sick.
Okay, that's true. That's true. That's true. That's true.
Yeah,
And
and the
probably the
Americans, because of political pressure, are testing everybody,
but
or they are testing a
anybody that they
large
can test.
number. They're testing a
Okay.
large number of persons. So they're testing everyone. They're testing people that don't have symptoms, that just complain, have mild symptoms, and walk into the hospital. They're testing everyone. Or they're testing, or their plan is to test everyone.
Mm. And that's why their numbers just are shooting up.
Yes.
That's why their
So
numbers
and
are just shooting up because they are basically the ones really testing. You
yes,
heard the
and if
story
it
of these how many 100,000 testing kits from China
yes, I heard they don't work.
to Spain that a lot of them were giving false negatives.
Yes. What's the false? Is it false negatives or false positives? What do you mean, like false negatives? Hello?
I be false positive, false positive. Sorry,
Oh,
false positives.
oh,
No, I think it's either false. I think it was false positive. I think it was false positive.
okay. So they don't
I think it was false
work.
positive.
Anyway, so what do you think will happen?
I can't really remember what I saw, but I think
What
it
do you
was
think will
false
happen in
positive.
Nigeria?
I think it was false positive.
You're actually going to search.
China. I don't know because I think most states are basically knee jerking.
Yeah.
So everybody just feels okay. We have one case here, therefore lock everything down so that it looks like we're doing something. So it's knee jerk. So I don't know. I said this last. I was telling people last week that let's see what happens this week. But now in my mind, I'm like, okay, let's see what happens next week because most of the lockdowns are going to come into effect next week from next week. So
Okay.
to see what happens, I'm still worried about the fact that there isn't anything national. There's no coordination at the national level because nobody knows where the president is. So I'm still worried because it means that whatever thing needs to be done will be done late. So I don't know. My hope is that this thing begins to die down by the end of the month, by the end of next month, before the end of next month. Because I don't think we can last too long in this uncertain state as a country.
Yeah.
I don't think we can last too long, especially with so many issues that are under the surface are bubbling. So I don't think we can afford to have people in one place unable to move, unable to walk, unable to earn a living for long.
Yeah, because we don't have a social
Worst things will
safety net.
happen.
We don't have a social safety net, and our supply chains are not that strong. You understand?
Yes.
I mean, that's really the critical thing. So, if we shut down the transportation routes, for example, my governor Wiki has shut down all transport in and outside the state. River State is not a breadbasket,
Yeah.
so we cannot feed ourselves, and he knows that. So I suspect that by next week or in a week or 2 weeks, people will, even if the governor decides to keep the blockade on, there will be a black market. We will have people smuggling things inside. So I have a thought, and I just want to share it with you. One of my desires is to have Nigeria as a proper federal republic. And I think we will get at the end of
Yes.
we will get what I want one way or the other. Simply because the federal government has been so weak and non-responsive that they're actually providing a
A bit
case.
closer.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's breaking. It's breaking a lot.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now? Is it better?
Yes, it's better. It's better.
So what I'm trying to say is that because the federal government have been response to this emergency has been so weak, and the states are having to step up, even though it's in a haphazard manner. It's beginning to show that the federal government, a strong federal government, may not be needed after all.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
they are basically writing a case against. They're actually writing a case against themselves, which
The
is
current
good.
system. Yeah.
Yes.
It's actually really, really good. But the problem always that we always have as a country is that when this is over, everybody goes for Thanksgiving and everybody goes back to normal and everybody forgets.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think that would be in this case because there's so many issues that are being brought to fore now. And there's so many issues that have come to fore now, and those issues will be resolved even longer, even way after this issue has ended or the quarantines and blockades have come up. And I think there will be a subject of discussion there will be lots of discussions afterwards, especially because with the way this thing is going, we're going to have global PTSD after this. I mean,
Oh yeah.
global.
Yes.
I mean, I don't see people shaking themselves after business meetings
Yeah. For a while.
for a while.
Because To remember, the thing to even remember is that, I mean, what is basically going to happen is that the incident rates are going to go down, and then you just have a background where you still have people contracting the virus for, or probably even up to a year or more. I hear people still get SARS. People
Yeah,
still
I
die
hear
from
people. Yeah, people still die of SARS.
SARS. So that is what is going to be happening. So it's just going to be something that might just be there, and then we go back to normal, and then it might bubble up to the surface again from time to time until something
Um,
else replaces it.
Now the Spanish flu had two waves. Do you think this would have two waves?
I hope not.
I really hope not.
I hope not, because it
Yeah,
was the
because
second Spanish flu wave that was actually the deadly one.
yeah, and hopefully the smart people amongst us would have found a vaccine because
Oh,
because
yeah. And then the vaccine would be widespread enough in case.
yeah, because right now chloroquine, hydroxychloroquine is very precious, it seems, and a COVID-19 vaccine would probably be the most precious liquid in the world
Once it's done.
once
Well, it
if
seems
it's
like
done.
people are making a lot of progress towards it,
Yeah,
but let's see what happens.
yeah. What do you think? How do you think globalism will survive COVID-19?
Maybe it might survive, but it will come out. It will come out of this with a lot of injuries, and a lot of people will begin to question, especially in Europe,
Yeah,
because you see the countries that have most of the cases: France, Germany, Italy. France, Germany, Italy, for example, are the key, the founding countries of the EU.
yeah. France,
So,
Germany, Italy. Yeah,
yeah, so they would look at themselves and look at the system. Now, Germany, obviously, Germany would still be saying, "Look, we all have to stick together." People will be looking at the UK and be like, "Oh, you guys actually saw something," and the smaller countries will now begin to. So Brexit was a reason for the smaller countries to become. Do we really need to be in this union? This would be another reason. This would be
yeah.
another.
Because at the way it is, it's been every man for himself.
Yeah.
The Europeans have the Germans, and it was so funny when I listened to Merkel's speech that Merkel actually brought up the spirit of World War II.
Mhm.
No, no, she was like, "This has been the toughest experience of our people since the reunification," and then she said, "No, World War II," and honestly, I laughed. I wanted to fall off my chair in laughter. Like, does Madame Merkel know what she's talking about?
Well, World War II wasn't easy on the German people, even as they were the aggressors, but it wasn't easy on them. So,
Yeah, but it just seemed very strange that she could. I don't, we all know it wasn't easy for them in World War II, and they're not very many. Well, they're not. Well, it just seemed like a very strange
strange
thing
thing to say
to bring up at this point of time
at that
because
point. At that point, yes,
it's not
because
something they bring up
it's not
in.
something. It's not something that Germany should be bringing up. Now, other
Up,
countries can use the World War II reference, but
but
Germany, look for
you,
another
you,
war.
you shouldn't expect the chancellor to bring up. It was so funny. Like, wow. So basically, the Germans at this point in time, when push come to shove, they talked about all the big nations of Europe talked about nationalism, and the EU at this point in time could do was basically powerless. Now,
Mhm.
I do think that they will try and argue that the reason why the EU was powerless to handle this thing is because the EU hasn't been given enough power.
Enough power.
Now,
Yeah, that's
so
that's
there will
the argument.
so the argument would be give us more power, give us more of your sovereign rights, and we will
When these
be
things
able
come, we
to,
can
when it
continue. We
comes
can be
up
continue them.
again, we will they be
We'll be
able to respond better.
Yeah, because I guess the argument was basically that we were not coordinated enough. That would be the EU argument, that we're not coordinated enough
So
because
now
we're
let
not
us have an EU office for pandemics.
pandemic
So
pandemic response.
yeah, but then there will be question would be the WHO has also not done well.
True.
Like, do you think? I mean, like the WHO hasn't they haven't covered themselves. This hasn't been their finest moment, to be honest.
Especially at the beginning,
Oh
especially
gosh,
in dealing with China.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. Okay, so do you know what's funny? No
Mhm.
one has talked about feminism. No one has talked about
Oh,
transgender
there was
bathrooms. No
there
one
was
has
there
to.
was there was the article there was the article on Quillette, basically a response to an Atlantic piece where they said, because everybody's staying at home now, so
Mhm.
basically everybody has to go back to their traditional roles. So traditional gender roles are making a comeback, and so somebody was writing in annoyance that
That
women are the ones being hard hit by self isolation because they
how
now have to go back to traditional roles of taking care of their children and stuff like that. So that this pandemic is going to be a setback for feminism.
and what was the response?
So the Quillette article was basically like tearing the whole thing down that this is nonsense. Actually, it's actually
Yeah.
nonsense. It's nonsense. That actually this period of self isolation and all that is also now an argument for why those things are important. Those things that have to do with home economics, in that sense, are important.
Yeah, yeah. So uh, home economics and anyways, but it does seem that because we've been in the issues that we think that we've had, the problems of political correctness, of gender inequality, transgender bathrooms, and those other issues have been because we've
Kept
been
aside.
because we've been coddled and pampered. That's why we can discuss these issues, I think. I mean, now that we really have the risk of a really, really, really bad epidemic and a really, really bad recession afterwards, we don't seem to be talking about these things.
Another thing I saw it briefly was because the people who push these things are people in the universities,
Mhm.
and a lot of them are
Your people.
yeah, and a lot of them don't really have tenure like that.
Okay.
So the universities are closing down. So they are shutting down, and basically these people have realized that look, outside the university, we're basically useless to society.
So, in summary, they are basically useless to society.
Yeah, we're basically useless to society. So if this thing gets really bad, we're going to be the first to be let go, and they're already letting a lot of them go. So a lot of them are complaining, but nobody really has time to listen to them because people are dying. So it's basically like, okay, we now actually have a crisis. So your petty, petty, petty issues, we can keep them aside.
Oh,
But
and
but do you know that 70% of the fatalities are men?
how is that good news for us? So I genuinely think I know why. I suspect I know why, but carry on.
What do you think? What do you think?
I think that the fatalities are high in Europe, and especially in Europe, and especially men because of smoking.
Yes, I heard that when where I heard this talked about, they talked about certain things that okay, men have taken less care of things that have to do with social distancing, hygiene, men take care less. And then there might be a difference in smoking. But the thing about smoking is if you take Italy, for example,
Mhm.
the rate of smoking between men and women are almost the same.
Okay, and
They're, they're almost the same. So it's still not clear why. Why is it that men are dying from this thing at a far higher rate than women? It's still not clear. But you could imagine if it was the other way around.
well,
I mean,
well,
patriarchal pandemic.
they would. I suspect that there will be a lot more conspiracy theories about how this thing comes from China and how it's a biological weapon of the patriarchy,
Mm,
or
something.
someone
There will
more
be some
creative
agenda.
than
There
me.
will be some agenda to spin. There will be some agenda
Yes,
to spin.
yes. It
There
might be
was,
that
I think,
they would say that the system is not built to take care of women
yeah,
better.
yeah. There was some. I think there was some. Where was it? I think I saw an article. These days a lot of things just pass my front and I don't read them. But I saw an article and basically I saw the article because of the comments. And I think the article was basically the headline was the story was about the fact that more men were dying than women of the virus. But the headline was now about the fact that women are the ones in the front line, in the sense of
How?
most of the caregivers are women. So they're the ones that are, in a sense, in the front line.
So what do they want? Do they want more male nurses?
When the real story is that men are dying, more men are dying.
Yeah, well, it's been a very interesting time.
It's similar to the headline, the UN headline, where they said, what was it now, that women bear the brunt of war because many of them end up being widows.
I believe that was a Hillary Clinton quote where she
Oh
says,
yeah, 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 yeah.
"Women are the primary victims of war because." Uh, and I actually put that thing up on when I still had BlackBerry. I put that thing up, and about 5 or 6 women agreed that women are the primary victim of conflict because they lose their sons, they lose their husbands, they lose their brothers, etc., etc. And later had to add, I had to ask them, do you realize that the primary victim is the person who loses his life? It's quite interesting.
And the argument is always that all the wars are caused by men.
Well, I agree.
Mhm.
That said, we were talking about these people, these academics in the university, and how society has found how they are useless to society outside the university. I do think that universities will find out that they do not need as many academic staff as they think they need. Because of the rise of online learning, on the fact
Mhm.
that many universities would see that online learning works, and yeah, many courses will be online now, and maybe the disruption will come faster now. The disruption that we have talked about will come faster now.
Maybe that's maybe because a lot of things that people did not think possible are now seen to be possible. So online homeschooling, the need to be physically present at meetings.
Yeah.
We shall see. We shall see. We shall see. We shall see.
So yeah, because the truth about it is that if remote working, especially for people that have diverse skills and specialized skills, is cheaper because you don't need to set up an office. If, say, for example, you're going to get an engineer from India or an engineer from China. You don't need to. I want him to work in Nigeria. You don't need to set up an office. You don't need to bring him to the country. You don't need to put him in a hotel. You don't need to. So all that administrative cost gone if you can successfully do remote working. I think we will see a lot of that going forward. And also what that means is since the video is now at the same level as spoken word, I don't need to spend my time listening to my mediocre lecturer at UNN when I
Yeah.
could, for the same cost, get a higher quality lecture on, I don't want to use geology, on some other subjects, not
Whatever.
geology, because you are the
Whatever.
best. Because you're the
Whatever.
best.
Whatever it is.
Yes, on whatever subject. And I do not need to get UNN. I don't need to listen to, I can listen to a much better lecturer do it. And I think what will happen is with with this online learning, many lecturers will find out that they're not needed, or they're not needed as much as they're needed, which means maybe maybe universities will be more research oriented. Who knows? I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, what I think would happen is that I think certain fields of study would suffer more. The humanities, especially, because basically almost everything that you could say is the primary matter for the humanities can be stored online and can be accessed online. So if it is the books, if it is the historical record, all of these things can be put online, and then the student can also interact with his lecturer or lecturers online. So the humanities will be questioned. The sciences, because a lot of science research is equipment based, um, okay. So, like you said, universities might end up turning into primarily research centers. Um, the model for undergraduate education will change. It will change because it's undergraduate education that you can easily move online. You can easily move online. My hope is that it becomes cheaper.
That's very expensive cabling.
So it might become cheaper. It might become cheaper
Yeah.
because it goes online. It might become cheaper. And
Yeah.
then we might have what happened with entertainment when entertainment went online. So basically entertainment now is you have a few people that get a bulk a bulk of the
The
attention.
views. Yeah. I
Bulk
think
of the view. And so that will happen to education because I mean if every university puts its content online, I would go for Stanford or Harvard or Oxford. Sorry.
or UNN.
Over UNN. I mean, if they're all available, if
Yeah,
they're
but
all
the truth about it
available,
is, even in Nigeria, so for example, there are some courses that are locally relevant, right?
yeah,
Now, I would not, if I was going to do a business course and I wanted to do a business course relevant to Nigeria, I would probably go for a course in Nigerian business school or something, or Lagos Business School, or as opposed to FUTA, which I went to. But that said, I also believe that it will get to a point where courses, that is, degree courses, will be broken down. So
yeah,
instead of you buying for a degree, instead of you buying a degree, which is like you buying an album,
you pick
people,
and
especially at postgraduate level,
you pick
would
and choose.
pick and choose. So you would pick the courses that are directly relevant to the skills you need to learn, and maybe things would be different. Maybe they would have uh, I don't know. I don't know how the future. Yeah? So you
It will
would
be like
have,
the certification market.
yes, you would. It would be like the certification markets.
Yes.
or there will be a convergence between postgraduate education, especially in the professional courses,
Yeah.
and
The certification.
certification markets. That is what I think would happen because already I've done a few.
A lot of postgraduate study these days, it's almost like we are giving you a certification to be able to do this kind of work.
Yes, and a number of the content of my postgraduate courses and the professional trainings I'm doing are
The same.
the same. Yes,
Yeah.
and
The same.
it
Because what is happening is that it's basically the same people.
taking both courses. Yes,
Yeah.
so I had a course. I did a course on project management, and I am reading the exact same material for my postgrad. I'm reading the exact same material for my postgraduate work. It's so I think moving forward, this virus would accelerate the process. Maybe.
Well,
So
somebody
how?
change the world, basically. It's going to change everything.
Yeah, I think the post COVID-19 world will be a lot more different. Now we've been doing this for about 1 hour 40 minutes, and
Okay,
I don't think this has been our best stream. So
let's round up.
let's round up. So what else have you been doing? What are you going to use your time to do in this
Well, papers to write, PhD to complete, and okay, there's also a bit of reading that I would like to do, a bit of extracurricular reading I would like to do. Currently, I picked up this guy's book, Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. So
Oh, you haven't read it?
Hmm? Hmm?
You haven't read it?
I haven't read it.
Oh, you
Funny
should
enough,
read it. It's a wonderful book. You should read it.
yeah, it's funny enough. I hadn't read it. I've heard about it, and like I'll read it. I'll read it. Let me just read it now, since it seems to be suitable for the occasion.
Yes. Very suitable for this occasion. I mean, it puts to be honest, reading that book puts everything in context, right?
In
I mean,
context,
it puts everything in the right perspective. Things aren't that bad.
yeah. Things could actually be worse. There's worse.
I mean,
There's worse.
I was telling someone that I do not think 300,000 people will die of COVID-19 in Nigeria. 300,000 people die of malaria in Nigeria, so we'll be fine.
Yeah, I think we will. I think we will.
I won't say that in public. I'm saying it on the stream, so I might as well just say it in public, but that's true. Okay, so what else are you going to do?
I think that's basically the core of what I'm going to be doing. And then try to try and keep up with friends and family. That's basically it for me.
I don't know how work is going to be next week. So last week I actually did try and work from home, and I was productive to some degree. So I'll try and keep working until the point where working from home does not seem to be productive, because the quantum of work seems to be reducing as time goes by without things kicking off. I will try and my exams have been shifted to August.
Okay.
So I will try and just write. I have a paper to write, so I think I'll write that paper. It's an essay. It's not a difficult essay. I've just putting it off, so I will try and write it this week and turn it in. I'm since you are not married, so this is the time for me to say good for you. I'm going to be locked at home with my wife. So, well, let's see how it goes. I have heard that the divorce rates in Canada have gone up because people are locked up with their spouses.
I saw something about domestic violence going up 40% or something. So
I honestly think, to be honest, I think it's actually a real risk, because there is no how do you say it?
There's no other outlet.
there's no relief. There's no relief valve because you remember you're told, oh, if you're angry with your wife, just walk out.
Mm-hmm.
You're not walking. Where are you walking out to? Anyways, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. My wife and I, we've talked about it, and we basically joked about the fact that we're going to be locked in for a long period of time. She actually moved her own office, her desk, her printer, everything. She moved everything to the house. So we
But
would look at.
I guess you can always come out of the house and walk around the compound. It's not like the thing is in the air.
Well, it's. I don't know where Wiki is going to take this thing to. So yeah,
I mean,
let's.
I don't think it's going to get into the compound, into your compound.
Yeah, but you know what Wiki said? You know what the guys in Italy are doing now, where they're actually shutting down people from actually walking the streets.
Mm.
So I don't know how extreme this the lockdown will become.
Yeah.
Well, let's assume it gets so. Anyways, we'll be. I'm not going to beat my wife. Don't worry. I'm not. We're not going to beat ourselves, but we're going to be looking at ourselves.
Yeah.
I have a few books I want to read. There's this book I bought. Have you ever heard of the BCCI?
BCCI. No.
It was one of the world's most corrupt bank, a bank of credit and commerce international. There's a book. It's also legal.
Iceland.
No. This was a Pakistani bank.
Oh, okay.
It's a book called False Prophets. Profits. I basically bought the book because I read an article somewhere, and apparently Abakari used to work for that bank.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I googled the bank and I saw an interesting book on the subject, so I bought it. So I'd have a chance to read it. What else? Yeah. So I don't know. I'll probably do this stream a few more times, and hopefully we get better at it.
Yeah. We can invite.
Yeah, and that's yes. We can invite other esteemed guests.
Mm-hmm. Invite other esteemed guests.
But
yeah.
By the way, waiting be joining instruction. Could you check the group?
Oh yeah, I have. I was actually looking at the group.
Mm-hmm.
And
go all the way down.
Okay, yeah. Waiting be joining instructions. I don't know what he's talking about.
He's asking if there's a link.
Oh, okay. No. It's just the link to watch the stream. Anyway, we can have people,
yeah,
we can have people on. We're not too
we
many.
can have people on, and then we can
even actually have
up to 6.
Everybody up to 6 people. So
yeah, then we can bring more people in and kick them out when we're tired of listening to them. Anyway, so I'll be reading the book, and it's a pretty large book. It's an old book, and I realized something interesting. Books these days are about 300 pages. Books used to be about 500 pages. I think now, like, it's almost like a hard limit of 300 pages.
In big font.
In big font.
And white spacing.
White space. It's one white space. Yeah, it's very interesting. This is an old book. It's 500 pages in small font and no white spacing though. So it might take me a while to digest it, to go through it. But I'm not doing anything.
There's time.
There's time.
All right. So I think we can end it here. We've done.
I think this is a good point to end the stream. Let's see. I don't think anyone will see this stream. Well, who knows? I don't even know what channel you're putting it on.
I'll send you. It's my own personal channel, like the channel linked to my account.
No, that's
So
fine. That's fine.
it's
All money should go to you and should go to uh, the wonderful sect. I mean, the wonderful order that you
no.
belong to. All
All
money is
right.
due. All money
All,
is due to this stream.
all right. That'll be
All right.
fine.
All right, man.
Have
Have
a
a love.
nice
Have
day.
a nice day.